Brought to you by BlackMagic Design, the world's highest quality products for the feature film, post and broadcast industries. BlackMagicDesign.com. The Tonkawa Film Festival, celebrating short films from around the world. Tonkawafilmfestival.com. And by Dehancer. Use the promo code RABBIT to receive 10% off Dehancer products. Dehancer.com.
This is my personal favorite for the festival, and one that I will be rooting for in the international feature competition. This is Kokuho, the Japanese submission. It's based on a novel and directed by Lee Sang-il, who's done a lot of good work both in Korean and Japanese cinema over the years. He used cinematographer Sofian Alfani, who shot Blue is the Warmest Color, so like really colorful and emotive camera work done here. Kokuho literally means national treasure. This is a film about Kabuki theater, the traditional Japanese art form where cultural stories are acted out almost in an operatic form. It's a mixture of drama and music, with the distinction that all the roles are played by men, including the women, similar to Shakespeare in England. Those performers are called onagate. They're prized throughout Japan. Kabuki is, like a lot of things in Japanese culture, hereditary, essentially. Like, if you are a Kabuki actor, you're meant to raise your son as a Kabuki actor and continue the line and so on and so forth, to the point where the actors have stage names that are essentially inherited and transferred on to their offspring once they retire. It's a huge tradition and culturally significant thing. Kokuho is actually about an apprentice named Kiko, played by Ryo Yoshizawa, who is the son of a Yakuza who gets murdered after his first performance. So he's taken in by a famous actor named Hanai Hanjiro, played by Ken Watanabe, who does a tremendous job in this film, and trains Kiku along with his son Shunsuke, played by Ryusei Yokohama. Well, Shunsuke is the heir. He's the one who's meant to inherit Hanjiro Hanai as a stage name when he comes of age, when Watanabe retires. But Kiko is so good that he's essentially one-upping his adoptive brother and best friend. The whole film is basically Kiko's life story from that first performance at age 15 when his father's murdered to his eventual final performance and retirement, and then transferring of, his stage name to the next generation. It's gorgeously shot, beautifully lit, colorful, to the point where the actual scenes almost look like they're on stage as well. Like that these are painted sets. There's some CGI snowfall in fantasy sequences occasionally, but the rest of the actual visual profile is virtuosic. That's really the way to describe this camera work. It's just goddamn gorgeous. The makeup, the costuming, like these are all the elements that the Academy just absolutely loves when they're considering not just for international feature but for Best Picture as well. And we've been seeing more and more foreign films get Best Picture consideration, especially since Parasite won the top prize, 5 years ago. So this movie has a lot of potential in that regard. It's got all the elements. It does suffer in one regard. It's what I call Lord of the Rings syndrome. This movie is 3 hours long, and there are many points where you could logically end it, but you don't. It didn't bother me, but I can see where it might rub some people the wrong way. Again, this is a life story, not a narratively convenient, dramatic conclusion story. So I got it. I loved it. My eyes were watering at times just from the sheer beauty of it all. And just me being an old school otaku and a fan of Japanese culture in general, like I've always wanted to go to Japan. I've always wanted to see a kabuki show, and this gave me as close of a simulation as I could possibly get. Ryo Yoshizawa, the lead actor, he trained for a year in kabuki style with one of the most famous kabuki actors in Japan, Nakamura Ganjiro IV. Again, they inherit their stage names generation to generation. So the crispness of the movements, the inflection in the voice, affecting a higher pitch sound for an onagate to make him sound more and more like a woman. There's so much of the nuts and bolts that goes into this beautiful art form that we get to see just as complete outsiders that was really inspiring. And again, American audiences, they know Ken Watanabe from tons of movies and TV shows. He's a celebrated actor around the world, and you absolutely feel every moment as he's basically being not just a professional in his own right, but being this proud teacher both to his own son and to this newcomer that he's taken on as an apprentice. And I give credit to the scripting as well, because you would think that the whole heir versus apprentice thing would be ripe for melodrama, but instead they actually subvert this by kind of pretending to be angry at each other at times and saying, "Oh, wouldn't that be more dramatic if I did it this way?" It's like to be jealous and to hate you for having more talent or getting picked over me. It's like there are those moments, they do happen, but they're sparing and much more, a realistic approach where, people just act like people. They're human beings. They have their emotional states, but they're not going to be maudlin for its own sake. That's very refreshing stuff. Like this is again, I totally get it if people think the movie's too long. Uh, but honestly, I was just dialed in from the first opening images, and my jaw was on the floor for a whole lot of it. I just absolutely adore this. Not just for, international feature. This is just hands down one of the best films of the year.
High praise, man. And, yeah, 3 hours of Japanese is probably going to be a lot for some people, but it sounds fascinating. And it's like it's a subculture inside of a culture that we don't see that much. So, yeah, I would be interested in seeing that. It sounds good.
One of the more clever touches is that when we do see some of the Kabuki performances, there's on-screen text telling us like what the play is that's going on, and we can tell in the audience that this is relevant to the themes that are going on in the actual plot of the film. It's not delivered to us, it's not overtly spoken, but yeah, when you see, a play about a father lion and a son lion where the son is taught to come into his own by being tossed off a cliff, well, that's a good metaphor for what Hanjiro is doing with Shunsuke. We're left to interpret that. That's the beauty of art. It's not supposed to be told, this is the meaning, this is what it is. We're left to draw our own conclusions, and the film is eager to guide us, but not handhold us on it.
This is the BTRP Media Network.